So I am the program coordinator for the RIVR, Rising Indigenous Voices Radio. We play half top 40 radio music as well as Indigenous music, which includes modern and past traditional songs. And we wanted to present this workshop to really get Indigenous artists out there. There's a lack of them in the mainstream music industry, and this is an issue. We want you guys to write lyrics, produce music, and to just get your thoughts out in the public and open. And luckily, we've been able to collaborate with the Alaska Teen Media Institute. And Rosey Robards will go ahead and speak about what ATMI does for the community.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Rosey, and I am the director of the Alaska Teen Media Institute. It's based here in Anchorage, but we do work with organizations all across the state. And we also have a radio program that is entirely youth-produced, which airs on KNBA 90.3 FM Anchorage. So we get to collaborate with KNBA and the RIVR quite often. And we're really excited to be here today to help with the tech side of things in this Music 101 workshop. We have a couple of youth producers here to help us out around the room. We have Logan over here in this corner, and then we'll have Kendrick in that corner, and we'll have Ezra over here to kind of help us along today as we produce some music together. If you have any questions about Alaska Teen Media Institute or the programs we offer, you could check out our website at alaskateenmedia.org. And give me an email if you have ideas for media projects that could be done in your communities. We're always open to planning for those sorts of things. So thank you so much.
If you're interested in writing a song and creating a song, please pay close attention and sit closer to the stage. Thank you. And so with providing a Music 101 workshop, we wanted to bring Indigenous artists to the forefront to not only learn about their process, but also learn about their artistry. So let's go ahead and do just a quick intro on who these artists are and where they're from.
Suvat, Uvanga Wasabi, Nalagmi Chisiga, Sharla, Iñupiaq, Sisiga, Aklachak. What's up? I'm Wasabi. My English name is Sharla, and my Iñupiaq name is Aklachak. I grew up in Point Lake, Caltech, and Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm super happy to be here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Chamai Spachi, Neat. Hello, you all. My name is Tyler Young. My native name is Apakutak. I'm Tsimshian of the Latchgeek clan and also Sugpiaq. Just really happy to be here. I make hip-hop music and happy to be a part of this workshop and see what we have in store today. Thank you.
La Hishu, Brother Buffalo, da Adustae, da Junyu, da Yishe, Anchorage, da La, da Sikwanagayu, Cordova, la, En Sitage.
La Hishu, Jake Swenson, Adukte, da Jun Sihao.
We're Brother Buffalo. We're Eyak brothers from Anchorage, Alaska. Our family is from Cordova, where our tribe's from, and we are super happy to be here today. Thank you guys so much for having us. We make hip-hop under the name Brother Buffalo, and yeah, we're just excited to be here with you guys.
And sadly, Ashley Young, another artist we had, contracted COVID and was not able to join us today. So let's hope and wish happy and healthy healing. So I do want to ask each of you artists, how did you get into making music? Was it just getting a piece of paper and writing lyrics, or like feeling something? What can you kind of help these workshop participants in today?
Growing up in a small rural village, we spend a lot of time indoors in the winter, and I just loved learning more words and new words. If I found a word that I didn't know, I would, go look it up and add that to my vocabulary. But also, it was just that love for poetry and writing. And one day the movie 8 Mile came out, and me and my friends thought it was really cool that you could do that with poetry. So we started meeting up by connexes and rapping over beats. And eventually I had to move to the village to Anchorage at 13. And that was a big culture shock for me, to go from somewhere where we're so proud to be who we are to the struggles that you have to face when you move to a place where, like the city as an Alaska Native youth. So music has always been something that's been very like coping and something strong for me, because it's always just coming from my heart, and that's just something that you can always keep with you.
Check. Yeah, I think for me it started just with me. I make hip hop music. I'm a little bit older, probably than most of you, but no, it's all good. I embrace my aging. But I have an older brother who's 8 years older than me, and I would listen to, I would steal all his CDs and just got infatuated with hip hop, especially West Coast hip hop. And I saw this movie called Rhyme and Reason back in the late 90s, and there was this little kid in there rapping. He was like my age, and I was like, man, I want to do that too. And so I started writing. I actually like bit his whole little rap and like memorized it. And that's kind of what started my journey with rap and stuff. I took a break for a while. But then seeing these guys actually like a year and a half ago, I met Brother Buffalo and saw what they were doing with like culture and music and just being really dope, and just cool guys. And it inspired me to pick up my artistry again and start writing hip hop. So I'm hoping I can break that down a little more, my process in that. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit of context, for how I got started. But I just wanted to say too, the music I make, it's really a soul expression for me. I use kind of like writing, almost like journaling, and I put my heart into it, and it's really positive and like healing for me. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share for right now.
Thanks, Tyler. And actually, you were one of the big inspirations for us when we first started too. I don't know if I ever told you that, but you and Drew P were the two native rappers that I knew about, or the first ones that I knew about when we started to make music, which was back in like 2017, I think, is when we first started recording. But for us, we always had a love for hip hop. We're real brothers, 6 years apart, and we had a middle brother who passed away in 2011. And music was always a way for us to just kind of get our feelings out. It was also just kind of a hobby, but after our brother Kyler passed away, we really used that as a motivating factor. Started writing songs about him just to remember him. Actually, we just wrote him a happy birthday song about a month ago for his 30th. But at the same time, we were also started engaging in language classes and organizing more and getting on Zoom and really trying to revitalize our language instead of just doing the once-a-year culture camp when we go back to Cordova. And the same time that we had started language and started music, they both just kind of came together naturally. It wasn't anything that we were like, oh, we're going to write a song about this or write a song about that. It just kind of flowed from whatever we were doing or what was around us. And it's been a really kind of crazy experience so far.
I'll just add, I am 6 years younger than my brother Garrett. And for me growing up, all of his music was a hand-me-down to me, just like his clothes. Like I listened to everything, whether I liked it or not. I went through his MP3. I went through all his stuff, and he really kind of started me in a direction that I didn't really know I was going to be. And we're not like musically inclined in that aspect. We didn't grow up playing a bunch of instruments and doing stuff like that. I think I call it a little bit divine, but it's also a matter of just like doing. Like you can aspire and you can do things, but you don't have to do it right the first time. Just do something. Start doing something. Start making a beat or writing something. Like Tyler was saying, it starts with poetry. Like Keenwa was saying, it's like Wasabi. It starts with all that poetry. It's like it's a form of therapy, and I think that's where I really found it to start.
And just another question about the songwriting process for all the participants. It's one thing to create a song and a track, but how important is it to infuse your Alaska Native culture into your lyrics, into the production elements of a completed track?
I think it's who we are, so it just comes naturally. I really loved with these last few months that I've been working with was a lot of working with a translator who was able to translate what I had written into Iñupiaq and then send me the recordings of how to say what needed to be said. And I think that a lot of our culture is just in us naturally, and we don't have to think too much about it because we all just know and can relate to our own upbringing. But yeah, working with the language has been really amazing. Just music in general has improved my own understanding and speaking of Iñupiaq language.
I agree with that, with what Wasabi said. And I realized, too, I go by 2Essentialz. I introduced my government name, but that's my artist name. But, yeah, it is who we are. So I think it's really easy to infuse that. And I think it's important, too, just from my perspective. I just released an album called Finally Free, and in that album has all... there's a bunch of cultural elements throughout, regarding my Tsimshian culture, especially my clan, my Eagle clan, my Latchkey clan. That was like liberating for me to do that and include my culture. And it was really at the forefront of that album. And it just kind of came naturally. And I'm so thankful I get to share that with other people. That's like our traditional songs and dances, and in a way it's like keeping it alive too, and for the younger generations as well. So it's very important.
Just to kind of echo what's been said, I feel like it just happens naturally. It's not anything, like I said, that we sat down and we're like, all right, we're going to write a song and put some Eyak words in it. How you're putting together songs and you're going through words in your head trying to see what fits, and us being in language class, native words start popping into our head and all these different Eyak words, and it just, I don't know, it was special the way it connected, and it didn't feel forced in any way, which I feel like has been really rewarding, but also has made it a lot easier to continue doing that and just incorporating it more and more into our music. It's been really special.
Our music is like all of us. I don't want to speak for all of us, but it's like all of our music is a culmination and it's a product of us and where we've been and what we've been through. And it's like we are native, but that doesn't define us. Like we get to share that. It's not something that somebody gets to tell us we have to be or we have to fit into a certain lane. It's like we're lucky enough to have this and share this. So that's just kind of what we do, at least.
Just another question on the music industry as a whole. How much has it changed since you began writing music, and how important is it to break through kind of this mainstream cycle of becoming that artist on the top Billboard 100 and really just making it big?
I don't know too much about making it big or billboards or anything like that, but I do know working with what you got is like a good start, is just knowing that that's what you want to do and just doing it. Even if it's just something you do for fun, you don't have to be like, I'm going to be big one day. You can just do it because you love it. Freestyle with your friends because it's fun, and even when you mess up, you guys still have a good time and laugh. And that's just one of the things I would say is cipher circles. You guys have to try it. It's really fun. All right.
It is. You do get good at rapping with those. That's a good practice. Freestyle cipher circles. And I guess that just depends on what your goal is with making music. Whether you're native or not, and if you want to become mainstream, and or not, or just make it out of love. I think that's for the person to decide. But I would agree too with what Wasabi said. It's good to start with what you have, and then just kind of build off of that. all I did when I started recording, I had a laptop, a mic stand, and a microphone, and I still use that today, you know, as my setup. So I feel like it's really accessible, you know, and it's just a great way to express yourself. But I mean, you know, and also too, like I feel like, you know, there can be more representation in the mainstream, you know, media and culture and things from Indigenous folks. So I encourage the young folks to you know, make music if that's what you're interested in. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's changed a lot over the last even 10 to 15 years on how music even gets made. I know if it wasn't as easy as it is now, we probably wouldn't have started making music, because just like Tyler said, we started with a microphone and a laptop, put it in a shelf in the garage, and you have your own music studio. But really just being yourself. You can try and copy this formula or that formula or whoever's hot right now, but it's never going to be you're never going to be as authentic as you are just being yourself, and the reception that people have for you is going to go a lot farther just being true to you. I know a lot of the times it's uncomfortable, even public speaking like this. I hate it, to be honest, but leading into those uncomfortable situations is only going to push you farther and make you better at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I think you said it. Honestly, the only other thing I can think of right now is like surrounding yourself with people that love you and people that are genuine. You know, your family, keeping people close, being open and honest with folks, and not putting up a front, not trying to be somebody you're not, because that bleeds into everything else, and then you start treating people differently, and then you become a little bit different. So it's like you got to stay true to yourself and see those people around you. Somebody might not be saying something you like all the time, but it's like they're saying it because they love you. It's a reason for it.
And before we break out into our workshop sessions in individual groups of 4, what is probably the biggest piece of advice you can give these participants today going into this workshop and making songs?
Whoa, that's a really hard question. All right, going into these workshops, I'd say the biggest piece of advice that I could give off the top of my head right now is that it's okay to be a bad writer sometimes. Don't give yourself too much stress and pressure about, you know, oh, this has to be perfect, or it has to be like my favorite rapper. Like, just keep writing and just keep doing it, and just make sure that you mean what you're saying and that it's something that you won't regret saying later. Just be yourself. Tyler.
Could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
What's a piece of advice you would give the workshop participants?
Oh, a piece of advice to give you all. I like just be yourself. You know, but really figure out healthy ways of expressing yourself, whether it's music or something else, you know, poetry or sports, or, you know, doing some other type of art. I just encourage you to find out what that is and pursue that, whether it's music or not, but just to find what you truly like, you know, in your heart, and follow that pursuit.
Say one piece of advice I have for you guys is don't be afraid to make mistakes. You know, the first song you make, or the first whatever you make, isn't going to be perfect as much as you want it to be, as much as we all want it to be when we were making our first music or first song. It's not going to be perfect, but the more that you do it, the better you're going to get at it, no matter how many times it takes you to, you know, write a song. I've rewritten songs 4 or 5 times sometimes because it doesn't feel right, you know. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and just keep learning.
Be passionate and be weird. That's all I got.
I would just say to lean on each other and work together and collaborate. Talk about your work with your friends, and we're all here to make things together. So let's do it.
All right, are you guys ready to make some music today? Okay, cool. All right. Everyone will be splitting into groups of 4, and you will make one track that is 1 minute to 3 minutes long. Don't ever let a song duration deter you from creating greatness. And the song will be any genre of music. We have anything from hip hop, EDM, rap, pop, Halloween music, anything you can think of. The single releases at 2:45 p.m. So we will be meeting back at this stage because we will be premiering everyone's new song along with the single artwork. And we will be holding a live listening session as well. So I'm going to split everyone into groups.